Let's go.
Dr. Rosie Milligan, one of the most sought-after speakers on the circuit today. Her live internet talk show, Express Yourself, is the most provocative, thought-provoking, and talked-about radio show on the internet. There's no holds barred, and Dr. Milligan puts the B in bold. She brings it every Tuesday live at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dr. Rosie has been proclaimed the most provocative female writer of the century. Her books include Satisfying the Black Man and Black Woman Sexually Made Simple, Why Black Men Choose White Women, and the book Nigga Please. These books have raised eyebrows across the country. She has authored 21 books and published 350 titles for authors nationwide. Check Dr. Rosie out at drrosie.com for her books, articles, and archives of her internet talk show. Sit at the feet of wisdom. Dr. Milligan is indeed a timekeeper and scorekeeper. She is the clock, calendar, and almanac for Black America. You need to hear her.
Listen to the Express Yourself Hour. I am your host, Dr. Rosie Milligan, coming to you live with nothing but straight talk. That's how we do it around here. Nothing but straight talk. That's all you are going to hear. And we're not for the faint at heart. I'm just telling you right now. So get ready for it. My co-hosts are the wonderful Mr. Keith Swanson, the Invisible Man. You guys for the last year, well, almost 2 years, y'all been saying, I don't believe Keith exists. He's the Invisible Man. Keith is real. He's going to show up at Black Rise on Tour. See, last year he showed up online. You guys couldn't catch him, but we're going to be in person. This is a face-to-face event. Black Rise on Tour plus Business plus Tech Expo is going down March 25th. That's a Saturday at Carson Community Center, and Keith is going to be there. The first person to catch Keith, hold him, call me, tell him they got him. Y'all got money. We had a big pot. We had that thing up to about 6,500 last year. Nobody was able to identify Keith. The pot went back down, like the jackpot went back down to zero. You guys, you better catch him if you can. Keith, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good, Dr. Rosie. The sun's shining and the rain's gone, but the grass is still green, so I'm good.
Isn't it looking pretty? Even though it's nothing but weeds that came into my yard, I was glad to see the green weeds, and I'm not cutting them down, okay? It looks so pretty to see all of them come in with the green. It kind of looked like in the South. Remind me of Mississippi when you're driving through Georgia, all the greenery, the trees. I said, this remind me of being back at home. Wow. But Keith, you're doing good.
I'm doing good.
Good. Where's my real estate guru, my other co-host, Miss Shawana Bordenay? She's the real estate guru. In fact, we're going to throw down next week. Yeah, we're going to talk about real estate next week because that's a hot item, guys. What's happening in the real estate industry? Will you own a home? If you can't afford a home, can you afford an apartment? If you can't afford an apartment, what you going to do? What you going to do? We're going to have a live conversation next week. You guys want to get everybody on this line, and we're going to do it. Shawana, I know you're selling houses, you're buying houses, you're doing everything that can be done to a house. Good morning, and how are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, Dr. Rosie. Oh, my God, I am so excited about next week and this week, of course, always.
Yeah.
But real estate is it, and we are going to be really giving some key things about real estate next week. I'm excited. But I'm also excited about being here today. How are you guys doing?
Well, I'm doing great. You know, all the conversation I've been having with people that it just, I have to just back off and not have conversation. Everybody's so down. Oh, I don't know why I'm paying my water bill. The lights going up. The gas went up. You know, I can't only hear that. I can't hear that all day long.
I can't either. It's like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to accept that vibration. No.
Yeah. How we going to make it? Cause we're not going to be able to have lights. We're going to have to get our kerosene lamp. We're going to have to get our flashlights. I mean, I have heard it from, and I thought, why not think about extra, another stream of income? Why not think about some other things you can do instead of what you can't do? Break out with your God-gifted talent. Use the senses that God gave you. Create something out of nothing. We have always done nothing. So all this depression, you guys, is too much. And I have to hang up the phone. I dial on another number. I said, girl, I got to call you back. I can't take it. I can't take it.
Oh, my gosh. Dr. Rosie, we are so much alike.
You'll get caught up in it, and they'll have you saying what they're saying. That's, wait a minute.
Mm-mm.
I don't know how I'm going to make it. So I know how I'm going to make it. Now, you can fall in that ditch if you want to. So, anyway, I'm just saying. But today.
Yeah, we've been telling them since 2019, get right or get left, okay? Try to tell you.
I like that. We sure have. They didn't believe it or something. Yeah. I don't know what they're waiting for. I don't. I am not.
Second coming.
I am not amazed about none of this stuff that's happening because if you pay any kind of attention, you would have seen it coming.
Mm-hmm.
You would have seen it coming. And we got, folks, you all have not seen what's coming, so you better brace yourself and then be prepared to do what needs to be done. How can you not see it, Keith? I don't get it. How can people be shocked about what's happening in the financial world?
Yeah.
It's been coming. It's coming. So today, February 7th, 2023, we're going to talk about reasons Black Americans will have very little to leave their families. Keith, that's so downhearted only because if we see what's happened, we have to find a way to counter it.
Right. I'm
doing this show to help people to understand we have the power to counter some of these things that's coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
Very little. It is a shame. It is spiritually wrong. Because the Bible says, leave something, a good man, good woman leaves an inheritance for his children. That means you going even past your children. You going down to the next level. So I keep saying, if you're going to eat from the biblical plate, eat everything on that plate. Here I go, getting ready to get put out of church again. I don't hear the ministers saying you need to leave something, folks, for your children. I haven't heard that scripture quoted yet. Are you guys churchgoers?
I
am.
But have you ever heard?
I go to church, but I go to a spiritual center.
But have they ever mentioned leave something for your children? Have they recited that scripture?
I haven't heard that one. I haven't heard them recite that one.
It's all about when you get up yonder.
Mm-hmm.
I heard one minister preaching about when you get up yonder. He said, there's a tree that's good for the healing of the nation. And when I get to heaven, if I have a headache or if these old knees get to hurting, there's a tree up there that I can pluck a leaf. I said, now, this is a fool right here. You gonna go to heaven having arthritis and migraine headache? I mean, oh Lord, I better stop.
I was like, okay, Dr. Rosie.
You guys need to stop me when I get off my rocket. And y'all know I'm trying to do, but I'm serious. I heard a minister say that, Keith.
Okay.
And it was very arousing to the people because they were thinking about, go ahead, preacher, amen. They were thinking about that arthritis, they can't get nothing to heal it now, stop the pain, even CBD, but when they get to heaven, they're going to go to a tree. They'll be up there fighting over the tree. Anyway, let's make sense out of things, you guys. It is a shame. I'm going back to because it does say you should leave something for your children. Black America. I'm seeing it now. Let me pull this earring off because it's propping in my mic. Okay. I don't know if you guys have noticed. It's getting so that there's very little left for the next generation. Number one, most people started out with nothing. They started out in the basement. But we should at least have our children coming into the world on the first floor. On the first floor at least. But now we're looking at generation, I'm talking about our families, having less and less. Is it all their fault? Some of it is and some of it's not. We have a system set up now to make sure that we keep the poor. Somebody told me, said the Bible say, Dr. Milligan, you always talking about money, but the Bible said that poor you will have with you always. I said, show me the scripture. They showed me. I said, yeah, I see that, but it didn't say poor Rosie. So my name is not there. So it's important for us to understand that we got to do better. And I'm talking about Black American. That's just happened who I'm talking about today, because I see the disparity on every hand. Leaving nothing. Leaving their children that have to bury them. It's a sad situation. And it used to be key that parents have tried to hold on to a house. They want to leave a house seat. They wanted to leave something for their children. And then the children got up. They went to school. They did well. They looked forward to taking care of mom and dad. When you get old, you can come live with me. When you need help, I can help you. You can't buy your medicine? Mama, I got your back.
Mm-hmm.
But today, Mama got the children back and the children back.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Keith. What's wrong with that?
It means that you're not progressing, because the thing is that I'm supposed to do better than my father, and my son's supposed to be actually better than me. I shouldn't have to take care of him, because he's supposed to be able to take care of himself plus other people. He's supposed to be better than me, not less than me. And that's the problem. So as you go down, we're actually digressing instead of progressing.
Wow.
That's regressing, because it's not supposed to be this way. The kids are actually supposed to be better than you. That's the issue. You're not supposed to take care of them. They're supposed to be stronger than you.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of this stem back, you guys, to the whirlwind that we're reaching. Freestyle, babies having babies, welfare system popping up. You 16, you can leave my house and get your own welfare check, get your own Section 8.
Uh-huh.
Okay? So now you have a generation that's undereducated. Then they bring children into the world. They don't see the value of education because they didn't have education. They lived in housing. They lived on welfare. Now their children come up living in the same project, all called this thing called freedom. Wow. Shawana, what is this freedom all about? Did it hurt us or did it help us? Miss Shawana?
Dr. Rosie, I'm thinking about right now the kids moving back in with their parents instead of the other way around. And we have to ask ourselves, where did we go wrong? Because that should not be happening. It just feels like there's something wrong with that. And it is happening. I see it every day. And I'm thinking the parents feel like, I don't know what's going to happen when I'm gone with them. And I wonder, I don't know what's going to happen either when the parents are gone and the kids and the other kids are holding on. What's going to happen to them? What's going to be different? And what can you do differently right now to make that change that is necessary? Because somebody has to wake up. This is 2023. We have to wake up and ask ourselves the question, what are we going to do tomorrow? Because we don't ask that question enough. We don't plan enough.
Well,
we don't know what we're going to do tomorrow.
It's so sad, because I'm glad you mentioned that, Shawana, because I'm hearing parents all over afraid to die because they're thinking about what's going to happen to my children when I'm gone. As if they're supposed to live forever.
Right.
To be able here to take care of their children. That's not the idea. I mean, parents struggling to live, giving up everything they have, trying to make sure that their kids are all right. And I'm not talking about babies. I'm talking about grown folks. I'm talking about 50 years old, 60.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
it is so down hard to hear the elderly talk about that. But gee, if I pass, they're not going to be able to keep the house. Now, a lot of this stuff is on us, and a lot of it is on the system.
Yeah.
A lot of it on the system. See, we got to go all the way back historic and look at how the creation for what is happening to many of our people right now. You can go back to the movie Claudine. Let's start there. Am I right, Keith?
Oh, yeah, that's way back, but yes, yeah.
You can go way back to Claudine. When if the man in the house, we ain't gonna give you no help. We can go back to the breaking up of the family and for you to feel that it's okay to be head of household, to be by yourself, or you thought you were doing it out of necessity. Then the kids feel when they grow up, I don't need a man in the house either. My mama did it. In fact, I had a 12-year-old in my office Saturday. She said, I want to be a millionaire. Her grandmother said, what? Yeah, I want to be a millionaire because I want to have my own movie studio. I want to have a big house. I want to have some children. And I want to have a husband. And then she said, scratch that.
Oh, whoa, okay.
Scratch that. I said, oh, you don't want the husband? She said, no. I said, you mean to tell me you want to have children without a husband? You know what she said to me? My mama did. My mama did.
Yeah.
Did you hear what I said?
Yep.
That's what she said to me. But folks, I realize, see, if we keep looking at what the system have done us dirty, but we have to find a way that we're going to overcome that. What can we do to make some change? Because this is ridiculous when I'm looking at the mothers crying out about what's going to happen and telling that I don't know. It's saddened my heart to see what's going to be left for this next generation. And you're talking about now, which we talk next week about real estate. You got high interest rate. You got to jack up on the property. That if a person managed to get a house in place in California, and they tell me like Memphis and other places, taxes. And they're going up every place. So now what happened? The kids they can't afford the note. They can't even afford the taxes.
Yeah. They can't. And you have to live in the property. Only one property goes, through the grandfather or parents' law. I mean, that proposition doesn't even exist anymore. You can only live in one property. All the other properties is reassessed with higher property taxes.
Wow. Okay.
So what happens with that empire that the parents saved up? What's going to happen? The city's going to tax you immediately upon death, and you're going to scramble. Okay, what do I do? Do I sell this property? Okay, I'm going to sell this property to make it, and then you have to pay taxes on the property you just sold as well once you pay taxes on the other money. So it's like it really is. I don't know. It's like you can't have what you should have been able to keep in the long run.
And our politicians are not trying to tackle any of these problems that's hurting the basic middle class people. You're sitting up looking at people you sent to college. They come out with a degree. The dream for most people is to have a home. Am I right?
Right.
They can't even buy a house because they can't get the job that pay enough for them to pay the school loan. Now you have to you're college degree and you have to raise your family in somebody's apartment, which charging you is almost as much as what a note would be if you had a darn house. Oh my God.
Right.
Oh my God. And here you got your education. You did what mama told you to do. You didn't have a bunch of babies. You didn't run the street. Stayed up all night studying. Now you got your degree. And what can you do with it? Here you can't buy a house because you can't pay the school loan. Okay? Now we're talking about you will have very little to leave your children. Mark that as number one. You're looking at they can't qualify for that house if something happened to you because of the interest rate and what it costs now. Okay, we got that. Okay.
Yeah.
What else that's beyond your control? Prop 19.
Right.
Says you have to live in that house. Otherwise, the tax will go up to market value. Look, folks, if you live in, say, Leimert Park, Keith, those homes over there are worth $1 million.
Right.
Yeah.
Your mother may be paying $400 a month for tax.
Yeah.
You're going to pay $1,000. Now, that's $1,000.
Yeah.
In addition to that note, because most of them, many of them have borrowed poor money off the house because of the economy, helping their kids, helping their grandkids, paying medical bills.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can't qualify for the loan. Why? Because the tax is going to be $1,000 a month.
Right.
If the tax can go up
a month.
That's
a month. Yeah.
Wow.
Because November and February comes around, if you don't have it impounded, which it probably isn't going to be impounded because normally properties are free and clear, and then you have to, exactly what you said, you have to borrow money that you don't have, and then you're eating up your equity when you should have just pulled the equity out by selling the property. I don't know. I just don't believe in pulling equity out if you don't have the money to pay that loan, because it's just going to suck it dry. It's just sucking it dry. Yeah. And it's just unfortunate that this has happened to us and that we even allowed Prop 19 to even get past us. And I drove down Crenshaw and I see all these buildings being built there. That was our Black-owned properties. And now the properties are being sold to other people, and they're taking our properties and raising the value up when we should be doing that. We should be doing that as a team. We should be really utilizing our properties properly instead of just giving it away.
Exactly. So now you got to take out your pen and paper so you can look at where I'm going with this, so you can see that I'm on the mark, that you will have very little to leave your children. Number one, we talked about if they have to refinance, you got to look at credit. And you have banks now, Keith, which is so unfortunate, looking at people tax from 20, they want to go back and see 20 and 21. How can you judge a business on what they made in 2021 when we were dealing with COVID economic? Can you believe that? So many people are being rejected for homes and for refinance because the lender said, well, let me see you 21 and 20 taxes. That's a sin.
Yeah.
They don't care what you're doing in 2022.
Right.
Another way to discriminate.
Yeah.
So you're looking at Prop 19 says, if Shawana is my daughter, you guys, let's give you an example. I make my transition. Shawana already have her home.
Yeah.
But if she doesn't move into my home, the one that's my principal resident, the taxes is going up to market value.
To market value.
That's
market
insane.
value.
Yeah.
So if it's $1 million home, you're looking at about $1,000 a month for taxes.
Like $12,000.
So they're trying to keep you from passing
versus
down to
your $800 or $1,000 that your parents paid.
Yeah.
You know, for both of them, first and second installment taxes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would then itself will knock the child out from qualifying to even assume that loan that the mother is leaving.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, what is the most valuable thing that most people hold is real estate. So when you put people in a position that they can not own, you are really doing them a disservice. We're in a renter's market. You guys make sure you listen to the show next week. We're going to break that down. So we looked at the taxes. We looked at Prop 19. Okay. Let's go to the next thing. But let me give the number out. We may have somebody want to chime in. It's 310-928-7733. 310-928-7733. Call us and talk to us. Now, we looked at Prop 19. Now, Prop 19 has nothing to do with mom and dad. That has to do with the system. So get it clear. Now, the thing that has to do with mom and dad is when they went and borrowed on that house to buy a car, borrowed on that house to do something foolish. So we're going to look at, Keith. You guys take out a pen. We're going to look at our issue, and then we look at the system. I think that's the best way to do it. So people don't walk away feeling bad, because it's not all on you. It's not all the mistakes you made. It's beyond your control, most of it. A lot of it beyond your control. What's going to leave your children without having anything. We talked about the Prop 19.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to medical. It is so disgusting to think that you can work hard all your life, basically pay your house off, make many sacrifices because I want to leave something for my babies. You get older, you get sick. And if you're an American, eating American Standard Diet, I'm going to do a whole show on that too. The American Standard Diet, count on being sick, okay? So you can just count on that. And then when you get sick and you end up in the hospital, many people think, well, I got my red, white, and blue, my Medicare card. Folks, it's only going to pay for you to be in the hospital like 60 to 90 days. So if you're in there longer, in a skilled nurse facility, well, after so many days, you got to pay for it. Now, they're not going to kick you out. They're going to apply for Medi-Cal. Medi-Cal is through the state. And I think you can have $2,500 or something like that a month income and still qualify, but then you have shared costs. You have to pay some of it. Okay. The average skilled nurse facility is like about $8,000 a month. And if you have a tracheotomy or something like that, it's going to be like 12 or 15, $1,000 a month. So mom in the hospital a year, some of them in there 2, 3. There's people in skilled nurses that have been there 4 and 5 years and longer.
Wow.
Okay? Now, when you make your transition, if you own property, guess what? Medicare will recover. If you have a trust, I want you to underline this. If you have a living trust, Medicare cannot recover. And that's important. If it goes to probate, the attorney must find out from IRS, Franchise Tax Board, and Medicare, do you owe a bill? And if you do, they get paid before the heirs get anything. And if you've been a skilled nurse facility, you can easily have eaten up $200,000, $300,000 in debt. That's where I'm going with. That's why I should be very little. Even when you properly plan, it can be difficult. But when there's no planning at all, you can imagine what's happening. So we're looking at taxes, and we're looking at medical bills. And then if you go into probate, you got all those probate fees. So the child is going to get very little. A lot of people are forced to do reverse mortgage. Their roof caved in. Right. They own little fixed income, Social Security, so they don't qualify for a regular loan. Now, if that child was in position, they could come in and take over this house now. They're going to get it when you're gone. Or at least get their name on to help you qualify to get money out of it to fix the house up. But no, you have to get a reverse mortgage. Now, when you get that reverse mortgage, you make your transition. Can that child refinance their house? Well, if not, you got to put it on the market. You got to put a market on the house. I'm living with mom. But when she passed, if I can't refinance that house, what does that lead to, Keith? Another homeless person. Yeah. I got 3 cases right now. 3 cases with that. And the kids can't refinance the house. One trying to get a cousin to go on with them. She said, I'm not going to go on because I'm not living in the house. And what if you don't pay it? That's a tough situation, isn't it?
Yep.
Yes.
So I rest my case. And I know it's true. Number one, what can you do? You can't do anything about the taxes. Can't do anything about Prop 19. That's beyond our control, right?
Right.
So what are the things we can do to head off it? To say head off inflation, head this off?
Yeah.
Number one, We can talk to we can talk to our families about what's going on. You may have a child who are willing to help you not to go into a reverse mortgage. We just need to talk and ask questions. But parents usually don't like to ask their children for help. I don't understand that.
Right.
They've been begging you all their life.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to ask them.
Well, we kind of said it earlier. They're living in the house with them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, you can't. If you ask them for rent, you can barely get rent from them. I got to pay my phone. I got to pay my cell phone.
Oh, we don't even go into that either.
Woman told me her son told her he couldn't help her. He can't pay rent. He had to pay his cell phone, and my cable bill is $200, and my cell phone, I don't know what kind of cell phone he got, it's $200 some. He said, well, maybe you may have to try to sleep in that cell phone. I mean, but why would parents put up with that? You follow? You have a $200 cell phone bill.
Yeah.
But you can't help pay on the utilities. You can't help pay on anything. And you got a cable in your room, and I don't have cable in my house. Y'all understand where I'm going? So I guess I'm talking to the parent. It's something wrong with you, too. It's something wrong with the kids and something wrong. We play a part in this.
We do.
We do, a huge part.
Yeah. You let somebody stay in your house and they got cable in their room. And you don't have cable. You have a bummer phone, flip phone.
Yes.
And they got, what's this new phone they have out? 10G, 5G, whatever.
Oh, 5G, yeah.
5G.
Yeah, 5G.
Every new phone come out, they upgrade.
5G. Yeah, 5G.
They upgrade. I don't understand it. The thing is, if we don't do better financially, what am I saying? You're going to be back in slavery. Be a new kind. You won't be picking cotton.
Might as well. I think cotton might have been easier.
Keith, you got a point, because at least you didn't.
Stop it.
Shawana, at least you didn't pick cotton all year long. There's a season to cotton, okay?
That's true. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. You chop cotton 2 months out of a year. Then the cotton grows up. You got about 4 months that you're not doing anything till the cotton come up. So, Keith, you got a point. Might be better off picking and chopping cotton, because now you're going to be stretched to the hip. Wow. And you think y'all going to be living together? You think homeless is going to be a problem?
Yeah,
wow.
It's going to be it's already an issue. It's going to get worse. And we'll probably talk about it next week and go into detail. But this is like I said, this is structural. This is something above your head. And the thing is, the fallout is on us. So we have to, we can't be casual like we used to be. It used to be easy where you can always use your credit card or use loans or depend on your house. Now it's getting to the point where you have to behave differently. You can't be as casual as we have been. The fun and games are over for the most part.
And Keith, if we can't preserve housing, real estate, I mean, it's not like you have bought into the stock or you invested in a lot of property, but if Black folks can't maintain and hold on to and stabilize a home, how does that speak to the economy for the next generation? Folks, I'm just being for real. Yeah. If you're going to be renting all your life.
Yeah, change is about to come.
It's about to come. And the rent, it's already too high. And then the next year is going up some more. So what are you going to do? People are paying as much for rent that they would have paid for a house note, but they can't get in the house because they have a school loan or their credit, or they're not making enough money.
You know what, Dr. Rosie? I was just looking at an article, right? And it said back in the 60s, you paid for housing, you paid 16% of your disposable income, right? Now you're paying 40% of your disposable income for housing. So things have changed. Yeah, it's a big difference. Back in the day, if you if your housing was over like 20-25% of your disposable income, you couldn't get that house. Okay.
That's right. You're right, Keith.
Now is what? Sharonda can correct me if I'm wrong. I think what 50-60% now.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane, and this is structural. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That they're kind of saying this is what's eating at not only your paycheck but also your wealth.
Yeah.
It's
Eating
eating at
it
your
up.
wealth. Eating it up. Yeah.
So you're looking at lack of estate planning. When I tell someone, if you
Hmm.
have a living trust, there's no Medi-Cal recovery. They should be knocking every estate planner door down. It should be
Yeah.
lined up as if you're giving away free money, but people still not paying attention. Okay? Medical bills, folks. I'm giving you the reason that the average Black American will have very little, if anything. Many of them won't have anything. In fact, their children are going to have to bury them because they'll wait until they got of age. That insurance is so high for them. I mean, I see it every day. They can't even afford to get insurance now, medical insurance or life insurance. If so, they're paying $200, $300 a month. Now they can't afford that. So, do you all see where I'm going with this? Am I
Hmm.
on the money or what?
You're on the money. No, you're probably too close to the mark. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
You don't have life insurance because you didn't get it at an earlier age.
Hmm.
Wow. You don't have insurance that to pay the house off because you waited too late to get that.
Hmm.
So how can we head this off? Number one, you could get insurance when you are insurable.
Yeah.
Keith, I had a sad thing to happen. I had a client. I was
Hmm.
doing his trust, and he was telling me about his insurance policy, and I want this child to have 100,000, this 50. Oh, he was just giving out money.
Okay.
When he died, they had to bury him because his insurance policy
Hmm.
was accidental death only.
Wow. Okay.
Did you hear that, Shawan?
Yeah. Wow.
Accidental death only. Folks, if you don't have proper estate planning, you don't have life insurance, medical insurance above your Medicare and Medi-Cal. See, people think when they have Medicare and Medi-Cal, they have carte blanche. They have no idea. It's a rude awakening as to how much they're going to pay for your medical care.
Yeah.
So probate gonna eat it up?
Hmm.
Wow. The family gonna be broke and in debt. Can you imagine 20 years from now, Keith, what it's gonna look like for Black America if we don't make a change? Dr. Anderson been telling us that for years.
Yeah.
All
He
this
was on the money.
inappropriate behavior.
Yeah.
Can you visualize Blacks in LA 20 years from now?
Mm. Mm.
You living with mama in an apartment.
Yeah.
She died.
Yeah.
Your ratio to income, if you renting property, they
Hmm.
want you to make 2.5 times what the rent is and have good credit.
Yeah. It's come to that. Yeah.
So the rent is $1,800 on a 1-bedroom if you can get it for that.
Hmm.
So you need to make 36. You got to be making about $4,500 a month. You stand with mama because you couldn't pay that kind of rent. Will the homeless cycle ever end, Keith?
It'll end. But the thing is, how will it end? Okay, it'll end. The thing is, will it end nicely or will it end, in protest? So, for lack of a better term, it's going to end. Like I said, one way or the other, it's going to end because it's a social crime. As rich as this country is to have homeless, doesn't make any sense.
You know what? I question our homeless crisis that we have going on. I really do. I wonder what's going on because when I look at the homeless people that are out there right now, they look normal. They're younger, and they're all talking to themselves. It's like the weirdest thing. They're talking to themselves.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
guess you would talk to yourself too. If you're
they're in
standing
shock.
out in this rain, in this cold, in this shock, you don't expect
Just
that to
stop it,
happen to
Doctor.
you. I'll
Yeah.
be talking to myself too.
But then be walking in the middle of the road, just standing there talking
I
like
would
there's
be doing
somebody
that
Yeah.
next
too.
to him.
I
Yeah.
would be doing that too, okay? And you would too.
I would too. I would be
y'all,
like, "What happened,
y'all,
Shawana?
y'all ain't
Why
right.
did you do this?"
Y'all ain't right.
That's the truth. You would too. You'd be talking to yourself, turning curves in the street. Ain't no telling what you would do. That's a hard life. A young person never dreamed of being homeless, of being in the
Yeah.
street. You know, it is so sad. And because of like the pandemic and all this stuff that happened, they keep talking about unemployment is getting better. I'm trying to say, where? Keith,
Yes,
here's my
ma'am.
point. Will the system end up having to provide housing and food?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
Food when the
yeah.
that's
true
what they want. That's what
socialism?
they
If,
want.
eventually, okay, this is I know we're going to go into this next week. Okay, this is what's going to happen, right? You look at Chat GPT and all this kind of stuff. Basically, it's actually erasing jobs, right? Even tech jobs. I think they're laying off what 40, 50,000 people at the WAP, right? And it's
Tech?
going to work its way
Wait a
down.
minute,
Yeah,
back up, Keith. In the tech field?
yeah, yeah. Google just laid off what 30,000 people.
Yes.
Um,
Mhm.
Amazon laid off 50. I think Microsoft laid off 20. Okay. So yeah, tech is getting hit right now. For the lower ranking people, especially in support. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
getting hit. Okay. It's going to work its way through the system. So at this point, they decided they're going to actually start releasing all this automation, right? So it's going to start hitting, 15% a year. So they're going to have to find something to do with these people, right? So they're going to have to feed them. Otherwise, hungry people do desperate things, okay? If you want to have a system, like I say, hungry people don't die easily. Okay, you think they're just going to waste away and just sit in the corner and die? It doesn't work that way. So they're going to
Fred,
have to do something with the people. Go ahead.
Frederick Douglass said, hungry men will eat, whether it's going to be from
Right.
their kitchen or yours.
Or yours, yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
But
Yes.
but the thing is, remember, go look up the universal basic income. They've been pushing that for the last, I would say, since 2013 as a way out.
Dr. Rosie, you want to put the number out there so we can see if anyone wants to comment?
Well, there are a lot of them listening. I don't know why they're not talking.
Yeah.
It's 310-928-7733. Maybe we have depressed them. Maybe they're going through a state of
we,
depression.
we can we can go through a whole series of this because this has been coming, especially from the World Economic Forum. It's not just a localized thing. They've been running universal basic income tests throughout the states in different cities for the last, I would say, 6-7 years. L.A. did it in a trial run. Seattle did it. I think they did it in Atlanta. They've done it in, I think, Washington, D.C. They've done it in other small places, but they've done these tests because they did it in Sacramento for about a good year, running these tests to see how it would actually work. So they're just in case things fall, they're planning something. The thing is, will it work? We don't know. But
Wow.
that's why I call it techno-Marxism,
Right.
where basically Marx said that you give the means of production and put it in the hands of the workers. That's what they get ready to do. Hey, we can't guarantee you a job anymore. Guess what? Here's the technology. Go find your own job. It's called the gig economy.
I guess we're forced
Mm-hmm.
to dismiss what we hear in the media and the reports because they acting like, the employment rate is okay and things are getting better. I want you all who listen, pay no attention
Yeah.
to that. Look around in your community. When they say everybody working and you look around, everybody in your family laying
Yeah.
on the couch who ain't got a job.
Yeah.
Everybody not working.
Yeah.
Look at what you see. Look at your friend, your cousin, folks in your community.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah,
believe what they're telling us. They don't want us to know the truth, right, Keith?
yeah, that's true. We might have to schedule a Zoom call that's not as public, okay, and so I can start disseminating some of the stuff that I've collected. because it's quite a bit, and there's stuff going on in the world that we have no control over that's happening right now. Like I was telling my mother, like telling my folks, right? I said, why is our gas bill so high, right? I said, you're shipping natural gas to Europe because of what's going on in the Ukraine. Okay, so your gas bill just going to jack up, and that's what happened. People got hit with $200 extra on their gas bill.
I know I
because of
did.
that.
Mine went from $2.98 to $5.37.
Yeah, because you're paying that excise tax because you're basically funding gas going to Europe.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have this Zoom because there's some things that we can't say.
I think that would be really good.
If you schedule a Zoom, I'll show up and I can run down a lot of the stuff because a lot of the stuff I don't feel comfortable saying in open air. I don't.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
I know that there's.
In fact, I had a private Zoom in February talking about the Ukraine thing, and it was actually a online seminar, right? And basically, a portion of it I had to take down because it said, okay, because I know the U.S. does not want that out. I had to actually erase that recorded portion of the video because I had predicted exactly what's happening now.
So we do have to look at what Ukraine and all of that. How is it impacting us? So we think it doesn't. We don't realize it.
It's part of a bigger package. The thing is, Ukraine is just the focal point, but it's part of a much bigger package. And everybody's feeling the weight. The interest rates, the high gas bills, the unemployment, all that stuff is connected. The thing is, unless you know how it's connected, then it seems like they're just random events, but they're not. But we probably need to have a private Zoom or where it's not really on air like this.
Yeah.
And I can kind of run down, and I can actually disseminate the information. You guys can actually say whether you believe it or not, but at least you know what has been said over the past year.
Well, we need to know that. I think Tim said, ask Keith, are we headed toward feudalism, where land ownership would be very limited, along with economic mobility, possibly revolution to shake things up.
Well, feudalism, basically, you had feudalism. Jim Crow was just basically feudalism, where you had sharecropping, where the landowner actually had you working on the land, right? They don't need you to work on the land because they got machines. So it's going to be something completely different. Be more like Northern Europe in the late 18th century, early 19th century, where people got pushed off the land into the cities where there were no jobs because the machines were taking the jobs. So we go into that kind of phase, just advanced. Just machines are more advanced, and you got more people and stuff like that. And you push people off the land. They don't grow their food anymore. Everything's connected to this big web we call it's the supply chain. When that gets disrupted, all of a sudden people start going hungry, okay, or people don't have energy, and it's all this stuff is actually connected. So one disruption can cause a ripple throughout the whole system, and we're having a big ripple right now. But I'm not going to do it here in public, especially on Dr. Rosie's show, because last time I tried to do that, they actually cut the feed. So we're going to do this today.
Yeah.
So it's probably better on a Zoom, and then Dr. Rosie can determine what she wants to put out. Yeah.
It's bad enough I can't go to church. Now,
you can't go to church. Cut off your feed.
We don't want no black vans pulling up outside Dr. Rosie's business, okay?
Oh my God, this is so frightening. Keith, I need someone who have really good information on the type of benefits that refugees are getting that's coming to this country. Because I've heard so much about how much money being given to them, how many food stamps. But you hear a lot of stuff that people are saying. I really need some real facts. Because if it's what I've heard, it's unbelievable. But we need some real truth about what does this country offer financial and economic to refugees.
Yeah, I know people.
Do you know someone that we can get on the show?
I know people, but I don't know people with that particular brand of expertise. That's kind of out of my wheelhouse. Okay. But I'll ask around. But offhand, I don't know anybody.
Yeah, I know you've heard a lot of talk about what they get too, haven't you?
Yeah, I've heard talk about it, but nobody that can actually lay out the benefits and lay out the documents in precisely. It's all kind of hearsay.
Right.
But I know. But the thing is that the American women are not having enough children to actually support the population. They have to bring people in, and that's been talked about. Even Biden talked about it.
Wait, now that doesn't make sense, Keith. You need to go back with that. How we need to bring more people in when we can't feed and house the one that we have?
Okay, because you need to keep a population stable. You need 2.1 children, right? One to replace her and the man, right? And one in case a child dies. Okay. And if you don't do that, if you're below that, your population will actually age. And if it ages, that means your workforce trying to support the aged population is too high.
Okay. Now that makes sense.
And for the past 50 years, especially white people, the white birth rate has been like below 1.5 for the last 50 years, and even the black birth rate has been 1.7. The only thing is actually keeping the population growing and stable is immigrants. They've been immigrating, bringing people in since the Reagan administration. So that's what's happening. But they don't talk about that.
No,
even
they don't.
Europe's talking about that. We can talk about that later. But it's demographics. You can actually look up what's going on in South Korea right now, because their birth rate is like 0.7. Never heard of it in history before. Okay. Can you recover from having a birth rate that low?
Okay. I never thought about that, but now it makes sense.
Yeah.
So, folks, as we said, we're talking about reasons that Black America will have very little to leave their children. Let's look at some of the things that we can do. Number one, we can educate our children in the fact how important it is to maintain good credit. So at least if you make your transition, they should be able to, if they have to, refinance their house and keep going. You want to talk to them about multiple streams of income. To me, it would be frightening as hell to only have one stream of income. I don't care what you're doing. Anything can happen that can stop that. So at least have something else going that at least you can feed yourself till you get back on your feet. Okay? We want to talk about insurance. It's important. It's imperative that we have insurance. You know, people, and see, they have new insurance now, not just for death. You know, when you get insurance, you have policies now, universal policy that say if you had a catastrophic disease, you could pull money. Still, if you have $250,000 death benefit, you could use a lot of that money to take care of your medical, and then what's left, it'll go to death benefit. So I want people to understand life insurance, if they call it, that's why they call it universal. It's not just about I don't care what happened to me when I die. Well, you ought to care what happened to your family. That's important. And if possible, you should have insurance. You got these big high note, 4,000 monthly note. You know your children, you put two of them together, can't pay that note. So why don't you just go ahead and get mortgage insurance that'll pay that house note off if something happened to you, even if you have to get your children to help pay that mortgage insurance. Now, doesn't that make sense, Keith? Let your children pay it because they're going to get the house free and clear.
In fact, the children should pay it. Okay.
Yes.
Is a guarantee for them.
Right. They'll get that house free and clear, because if we can't leave these houses free and clear, you're not going to be able to leave it to your children, because many of them cannot afford it. And if they already have a home, many times they can't afford, Keith, to refinance this house, because they're going to look at their debt to ratio. Come on, you guys. They're going to look at your debt to ratio. Go ahead,
Shawan. Came to my mind, Dr. Rosie. This is a weird question, but how does reverse mortgage work with mortgage insurance? Are you able to pay that off, or you can't do that with the reverse mortgage?
I think you can. I'll find out, because I'll be on the line with some insurance people on Friday. They're doing a Zoom. They will lay out all the insurance, and I'll lay out everything about estate planning. It's a combination that's incredible. I'll send you guys a link, because they are awesome with the information that they share, and that's one of the questions. But I'm sure you can, but not sure. So I'll get an answer to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's important. Get to burial insurance, unless you want to be cremated. Even cremation have gone up, because so many people have to be cremated now, because they can't afford to pay $20,000 to bury you.
Yeah.
So we got to find a way to preserve our money and the property, and get a trust, you guys. Come on. Don't go into probate, letting the probate fees, attorney fees, appraiser fees. That's money that could go to you. And the other thing, Shawana, what I found out, a lot of times you go to probate, You got all these creditors lined up to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody questioned, did my mama really owe this bill?
Right.
Okay. If this thing been on here longer than 7 years and I haven't paid anything on it, it should have been dismissed. Nobody's asking that question. Pull those credit reports. Don't let them people come in and take that money through probate when maybe mama doesn't owe that. People never think about that. Whatever is presented in probate court ends up getting paid because people are not rejecting that. So these are things that we can do. Sure, I realize that Prop 19 is making it difficult for your children to hold on to the property. What I've found that many African American rents are not sky high because they understand what it is to be struggling. So most of them, when they try to sell their property, it's difficult because their rents are too low. They don't keep jacking up the rent like some other folks do. I'm telling you the truth. That's the way they are. They try to keep it down. Well, I've been knowing this Liz and so-and-so mama lived here and she died and I ain't going to raise the rent. But then when it comes time to borrow money or sell it, then especially if it's unit, then, you know, it hurts you at that point. So these are some points that that they need
have to
know.
show you what the rents could be if you buy the property as opposed to what the rents are.
Exactly. They have
and then you don't get your full value by not raising the rent either because that gives you your value on your property.
Absolutely. And you want to make sure, start teaching your kids, you know, you need to have good credit because you go into probate, they can't even be your administrator because they can't get bonded. So I know I've given you some things that may have depressed you to think, oh, I ain't going to have nothing to leave. You can if you go do what you need to do. That's why I'm talking about what you don't do and telling you what you can do to head off this catastrophic event in the lives of your children. You know, and I know I'm glad that once you're gone, you can't look back. Lord, have mercy. Girl, if you could look back.
Okay, let it be for those kids. Let them deal with it.
It ain't my problem no more.
If you could look back and see what's going on with them, I'm sure there'll be a lot of weeping. There'll be a flood of tears in heaven. There will be a flood of tears saying, oh, shoulda, woulda, coulda, wish I had it. You know how we have that story. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, wish I had it. It's going to be a whole lot of, I wish I had it. So at least when we're gone, we won't see it. But you should want to leave your children in a better position.
Yes.
I
want to give my number, Dr. Rosie, for
Please
those people that, for any of you guys that are going through exactly what we're talking about. You have property that you want to sell. You have issues or questions that you need answered regarding your real estate and your real estate inheritance. And if you just want to do a trust, you see Dr. Rosie. But if you have any other issues with properties, please call me. My name, of course, you know, is Shawana, and my phone number is 818-201-6565, or you can also reach me at 310-420-9046. Once again, that number is 310-420-9046. And again, if you have a trust, please call Dr. Rosie. You want to go ahead, Dr. Rosie?
And that's 323-750-3592. 323-750-3592. And if you have questions, you can also email me at Dr. Rosie, Dr. No period, DRROSIE at AOL.com. That's Dr. Rosie at AOL.com. And this show is going to re-air, and I suggest that you call your friends and family members and ask them to listen to this show because there's things we can do. It's daddy said, I'm going to build a fence to head off the cows. You know what that means? See, yo, young folks, y'all don't know nothing about head off. I didn't know what it meant either, but now I know it means to stop them from running away or getting out. But folks, you got to start now, and it's not too late. I don't care how old you are. Start looking at what you can do to at least lighten the burden for your children, because you may have never thought about it. You just figure when I'm gone, I'm gone. But folks, trust me, you don't want to leave these babies here in the situation they're going to be in if you don't make a change. You just cannot do it. It is spiritual wrong, okay? You just cannot do it. The show is going to re-air at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That will be the rebroadcast. So you really want to listen. But take care of your estate plan and get your living trust. Look at your medical bills. You can't do anything about Prop 19. Okay, but you can get some life insurance. You can get insurance that will pay for you to stay in your own home versus being in a skilled nurse facility and having all that debt. That you can do. You can teach your kids how to have good credit. You can teach them how to budget. You can teach them to stay out of debt paying all this high interest. So, yeah, there are some things that's not within our control, but there's a heck of a lot that is within our control. So it's time that we do it. So, Keith, if you should want to have a closing word, we're going to sign off and we'll be ready for next week. We're going to talk about the max in real estate.
Yeah. And all I can say is pray to your higher power and buckle up because you're going to need it.
Shawana?
Yeah, I totally agree with Keith on that one. And just have an open mind. Stop being so closed off to things that don't sound right. Because a lot of times we close off our minds saying, no. Open your minds more. Open your minds more.
Good advice. Okay, you guys, as we go on our way, you guys have a great day. And next week, we got a real good show for you. You don't want to miss it. Tune away from all this television, talking heads, talking about nothing about what's going on in other houses, the White House. The house you need to worry about the most is your black house. Your black house.
Say it again.
Exactly. You guys have a great day, Keith and Shawana.